Awesome. So, so yeah, this is my
Hey,
friend.
what's up, everyone?
How's it going? Um,
Good.
awesome. I'm interviewing Junior Robinson. We went to school together. Well, we went to the same college together. And all that good
Yeah,
stuff.
we used to kick it in LA together too. Have some fun.
Yep, yep. And we went to a concert together and all that good stuff. But yeah, I'll bring up your bio and all that good stuff, and so we can chat about your film career and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
sorry about the technical difficulties on my end over here, man. Sorry, glad we got it together.
Indeed, me too, man. Me too. Don't worry, like my pal's Wi-Fi went out, so from my last interview, so it has been a
Yeah.
weird week. So, but yeah, what we're doing is we're raising funds for my favorite theaters in Florida, um, the
Okay.
Corazon Cinema and Cafe,
Yeah,
um,
yeah, I seen that.
in St. Augustine, and also the Sunray Cinema in Jacksonville, Florida. So definitely helping them out. But yeah, all the you can find out all their information on the bottom there. So definitely help out if you can. But yeah, Junior. So you grew up straight out of Dog Patch right away. It says on your what was it like growing up in in Dog Patch in Pueblo?
Uh, yeah, it's ups and it's downs. There was different times, different periods. The '80s was kind of crazy. Just in different ways. I was a skater kid, so I used to always get dropped off at like Belmont Shopping Center. My mom would drop me off, and I go skateboard all the time. Wasn't until like as I grew up later on in the '90s that everybody that I hung out with, they all became cholos, they all became gangsters, all of them, all my elementary school friends, most of them in Dog Patch. So it's hard to keep your head out of water growing up there. But even those guys, they became respectful young men, even to this day, So we took them hard lessons as took them in stride, the best we could. There was times, some of these protests kind of had me reminiscent about being tossed in a fence, by police, and Dog Patch just because of who we were, getting kicked out. We used to always get kicked out of St. Joseph's festival. We used to get kicked out of the state fair like all the time, just for nothing, just for being there, So back then, I just never used to think that it was racism or anything that it was, but maybe it was, who knows? But we take it in stride, and those things also kind of shape me. So the hard lessons that I learned there and the hard stuff that I gripe about, I also have to kind of embrace it as it kind of helped shape me as an artist.
Absolutely, you can't have the good without the bad, you know.
Right? Yeah, definitely.
Yep, and so you started striving towards education, and as I mentioned earlier, that we both ended at BS, which is a Bachelor of Science in Mass Comm, in
Yeah,
CSU Pueblo. So what were those?
Wolfpack.
Absolutely, what were those days like for you?
It was cool, man. It was really cool. See, I actually started before that with Scott Richards at PCC, and then I kind of transitioned over to CSU Pueblo. But back then, I think that wasn't the first time I got my hands on my camera. The first time I got my hands on a camera was like right out of high school, right out of East High School. When I was at East, I used to shoot like 35 millimeter photography, but right out of high school, a friend was like, "Hey, somebody's selling this broken down. I think it was like a VHS-C camera. Or I don't even know what it was. The zoom didn't even work. And like, hey, you want to buy it for like 50, $60?" Like, yeah, definitely. I need a camera. So I was always into cameras, and somebody they didn't. They just it could have been stolen. We didn't know what, but got my hands on this camera, and then I just started filming everybody in the parties, and when we were growing up, just taping everybody. And that's what really kind of led me to CSU Pueblo, to PCC, because I was like, I want to make a documentary. Back then I was thinking film. I wanted to make a documentary. We had the camera. One of my friends, like, they used to take up the side of the camera. They put east side, like we'd always take up east side everywhere, but they put a big old east side, and then they put underneath it documentary. Like, it was like official then, you know what I mean? So we made it on the camera. Was like, we're shooting an East Side documentary. So everywhere, If sometimes it would be just fights, sometimes it would be just mundane stuff. We were just hanging in the neighborhood. But sometimes it would be some crazy stuff. I still have some of that footage. I used some of it while I was at USC. But that was the first the itch, that was the first time I was like, if I want to really do a documentary, I need some skills. I need something. And I didn't have no idea about film school. I would have applied to USC film school way back from the beginning. But I didn't know anything about film school, so I was just thinking film program, media program, CSU Pueblo, you know what I mean? So that's what kind of prompted me. And I was really, CSU Pueblo was really kind of grounding me. I was able to like, I petitioned to be to independent study there to write a screenplay there, which ended up being just a treatment. When I got to USC, found out how screenplays were really written. I looked at my old work and it was like, this is just a treatment. But they were CSU Pueblo was really, they were Sam Ebersol, even my Chicano studies professors, Judy Baca, was helped me out on an independent study. I had Sam Lovato at radio, so we got a well-rounded thing. Some stuff that I even use now, like to help me design my website, that all came from CSU Pueblo. All those things that before I went to USC, we had to even edit. They just threw us in the fire, and if I didn't know how to edit at CSU Pueblo, I would have had a lot harder time over at USC. So CSU Pueblo really grounded me.
Absolutely, they have a well-rounded mass comm program, and it's probably like the best in the nation. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never been to the others, but like I talked to like some folks at the CU Boulder campus when I was at a concert there, and they were like, "Yeah, it's not worth going to mass comm here." So I'm like, I'm sure glad I went to CSU Pueblo
Right.
for it.
Yeah, it's a cool school, and yeah, I love it.
And it's not that expensive either, which is great, and you get so much knowledge. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and when I was going there to school there, like I didn't only like take classes on my media studies class, but I got a job working with Lawrence the Priest, and I was kind of like before we didn't have the football program or like we do now. So back then I was doing like shooting all the events. I was shooting basketball, shooting volleyball, shooting. Lawrence would send me out to shoot all this stuff, and nobody was editing stuff. Nobody who's like, well, if you want to edit something, go ahead and do it. So I was like, yeah, I'll edit. I was editing stuff for the dance team. I was editing stuff for the volleyball team. They weren't even asking us to do it. I was just like, no, I want to do it. I want to learn. I want to, get that skills. And Lawrence was like, go for it, run with it. So that was really cool.
Absolutely. And let's see here. How did you find your way into the CSU? Not the CSU, but the USC program out in LA.
Well, back when I was still going to school at CSU Pueblo, I was actually thinking of film school. When I was a senior there at CSU Pueblo, I was actually thinking of like the UCLA program. Was the only school I was looking at was the UCLA Bruin program. And then I started working after CSU Pueblo, I started working at a TV station at KRDO, and when we were just like talking with one of the guys that became a good friend. He actually went to CSU Pueblo too, Aaron Norris. He's like, nah, man, you need to look into USC. USC's where it's at. He's like George Lucas, Robert Zemeckis, John Carpenter. I was like, started listing all these people, right? And I was like, these are all my idols in film, like especially John Carpenter, like John Singleton, all these people. And I was like, I really started looking seriously at USC. And then when I applied, I didn't really have any know-how on like grad school. I was just started reaching out to friends who tackled grad school before, and they're like, you should really set your net wide because you might not get in. I was like, I gotta get in. I gotta get in USC. That's my spot. I gotta get in. So I did. I threw the net wide. I threw it to like San Francisco State, Columbia, Austin. Again, the Bruins, the UCLA, and one by one, I started getting rejection letters. Bam, sorry, sorry, sorry. All of them started getting rejection letters, and it was just like, damn, they're weighing up until the last letter that came was from USC. And in fact, I got a phone call before I got the letter, and they're like, it was from one of my mentors. She's like, I think we're gonna go ahead and offer you a position here at USC. Judy Arola, she's like, I wanted just to talk to you about it first. But you're probably getting a letter in the mail. And I was like, yeah, hell yeah, man, it happened. So that's what led me there.
Indeed. What does MFA stand for? Like
Master of Fine Arts. So they have Master of MFA, and it's they in at USC you could have the we have a production program, we have screenwriting program, they have producing program. It's the best, So I went MFA in production, which is directing, which is cinematography, which is filmmaking. The actual hands-on work of filmmaking. We have there's a game program there, media program. There's so yeah, it's they all in all them departments. They all sit within the school like on their own, and all them kids are like, they're like they hold it proud. They're like, we're the proud Stark producing students, or we're the proud screenwriting kids, And I was like, we're the proud production kids. We stay up late, we don't get no sleep, and we stay on set, until 15, 16 hours a day until they say cut, and that's a wrap, So that's where we went.
indeed, and you co-produced the documentary "Forged in Steel" while you attended CSU Pueblo. Like, what was it like on set on that?
I fact was it a couple months ago when the right before the semester ended, Sam Embersol invited me to watch the documentary program, and it was really cool to see the evolution of where that went from CSU Pueblo to where the students are now. So I was almost mirroring some of my classes at USC over in LA, where like 3 different films were being made. But when we made Forge and Steel at CSU Pueblo, that was the first time that I don't think they ever tackled documentary over there at CSU Pueblo. And a group of us, all of us that were really like film nerds over at CSU Pueblo, were like, nah, we don't want to just take a media class. We want to actually make something. We want to leave here with a film. We want to shoot something. So that's what happened. We actually petitioned. I think we petitioned Sam. We petitioned a couple other people, and we said, help us make this documentary. Like, well, it's going to be the first time if we could get a faculty to do it for you guys. We don't have a problem with it, and they did. We ran with it, and we really like got the ball rolling late. I remember like being in class 2-3 weeks in the class. We didn't even have an idea. We didn't even know what we were gonna shoot, and then we just kind of kicked around. Finally, we stuck with the steel. We kept thinking about the Pueblo, the Steel City, that sort of thing, and it was like the steel mill lays dormant right there. It was kind of the perfect story to tell, So that's how that kind of shaped how that came about.
That's pretty awesome. And going from south to north, you participated in the shootout in Boulder, the 24-hour filmmaking festival in 2005 and 2006. Like,
I don't have my glasses on. I don't know if it's gonna be too much of a glare, so I'm keeping them off if my eyes are kind of bug eyed. So
oh, for sure, no worries. What was it like to perform in, or like film in that 24-hour film festival in Boulder in 2005 and
oh,
2006?
my dog's here. He wanted to say hi.
Hi, dog.
Yeah, that was really cool. I remember that was one of those things, and I don't think it's happening anymore. The shootout Boulder, it only happened for a few years. But it was really run and gun. You go there, you go. I remember like we go to Boulder like the night before. We like a bunch of, and it was when that kind of happened. It was a team of CSU film nerds again. It was my friend, I was telling you, Aaron Norris, a couple guys that he knew. One of them had went to some film school in, I don't know, not a film program in Denver, and then a couple of us were like from Pueblo, and we just all carpooled up to Boulder. We're like, hey, let's go make a movie. We can't you when you go up there to the shootout Boulder, you have no idea what the theme is, or you find out right then and there, right? So they give you an idea. This is the theme, and it could be, have so many parameters to fit your story in, but you have only like 24 hours to make it, or 24 hours to make it plus the cut time. So it's like a day's shoot, or yeah, it's really run and gun. You're making a scene, so it's like right away you get the story idea. Let's go have some coffee. Let's go eat something, and let's just hash it out. Bam! Each of us throwing our piece of our idea, and we even had to be actors. They're like, all right, I'm gonna have to act this part because you don't have actors. You know what I mean? You're the crew. You're the actor. You're the sound. You're all of that. I remember one night we were shooting this horror movie, and it was so cool. We were shooting it in this friend's house, and we got this shot. we were chasing this female around with the camera, like making like a little critter cam, and somebody was supposed to be making this whole critter noise the whole time, like going through critter noise all the way through. And I was a sound person on the whole thing, so I was recording it was the sound sold it more than the camera, because we could have faked a lot of the camera stuff. The sound was like the critter noise, so I recorded that all, and then we got black and played it back, and we found out that I missed the cable that came out, and I missed most of the sound, and then we
Oh,
had to go back into like and make it up in like in a sound suite. We had to make that all that up, and it was just everybody was just looking at me like, but that was one of those hard lessons that I took with me. Even these are lessons that I took before USC, so it was cool to make mistakes, and it's just fun. I wish we had. I miss that. I miss having like a group of friends here in Pueblo. I wish I had that. Like, hey, let's just go shoot something. Let's just go make a movie. Let's go crew. Because back then we didn't care about anything other than just trying to tell a story.
indeed. Well, I'll be moving back here shortly, so we can team up and go start shooting films and stuff like that. So
Yeah, right. You better
we
get
can.
back.
Indeed, I miss Pueblo so much. Like Florida's cool and everything, but man, Pueblo has my heart. But
Yeah.
but yeah, like the you also did in your first year at USC, you filmed a short film called April 10th, um for the Los Angeles Latino International Film Festival. What was like that experience like?
Oh, that was really cool because that's actually shot on film. I'm proud of it's a short film. It's a student film. Everybody that goes to the USC film program, they all have to make what's called their 508 film, and it's a little bit bigger film. You put a little bit more money in it. But what they do is they pair you up. The USC pairs you up with the filmmaker. Your first semester there, you make like 5, 6 films, and you shoot them on digital. And a lot of that you establish friendships that first semester. So you're each helping each other's films. You're helping each other out. The second semester they pair you up with a different person, and it could be somebody that a friend, or it could be that somebody that you're just getting to learn. And I don't know where the pairing up came. They paired me up with my homie Fadi Hadid. Everybody back when they paired us up, they're like, hey, what's going on here? They're pairing up a Zapatista and somebody from Iraq. What's really going on? That's people were like commenting on that. But we really became good friends. Fadi, I miss Fadi now, like the experience that we had shooting that film. You have a whole semester, like, and half of the semester you shoot your film, and then the other half of the semester we shoot his film. And we actually shot like that film. I think our class there at USC, and then maybe there was one other class that came in, were the last two classes to shoot actually on film. It was only like on 8 millimeter, but it was still film, so that there's something. I think there really is something to be taken away from that celluloid experience, and I'm glad that I shot on film, because now that's kind of where I'm at. I'm in a standstill, wanting to shoot my movie now on film, because even if I could shoot on 16 millimeter, I just think that it gives it that touch. You're treating it like with tender care. So that's kind of what that 508 experience was. You kind of go in it with like a big head. Oh, I'm gonna make this big old movie, and then all of a sudden you get flat on your ass. Things don't turn out the way they are, but it's a good lesson in that. I remember having actors fall through for me, like, hey, the day before, hey, I'm sorry, I can't be in your movie. What? Can't be in my movie? So you have to call your B girl or your B boy. Hey, I need you in my movie. You know what I mean? So things like that would happen. Our locations. I remember like the Friday night going into our shoot, and like we had a location secure, and then like Friday night, the fire marshal there at USC is like, nah, we're not gonna let you shoot here. And Joe Wallenstein over there, he's head of production at USC. He was really going to bat for us. He's like, what the hell? What do you mean you're not gonna let him shoot? This kid's been doing all this stuff. And he's like, no, sorry, Joe, we're not gonna. And Joe's like, you know what? Just shoot it in the basement of our building. Nobody. And I was like, at the time, nah, I don't want to. Everybody's gonna know it's the film school. It's the film school. He's like, just shoot it in this building. You have all access to the film school. It's our building. It turned out to be a blessing in disguise. We shot it there. A couple years later, they ended up knocking that building down. So it's like nobody recognizes it now. You know what I mean? We shot in the old building. So all those things are lessons that you take with you, you know, and it's really cool. After that, we have like a premiere there at USC. You invite your family. I think I remember that was the first time my grandma actually flew out to LA and saw a film with me in one of my films in a theater. So it was a real cool experience because she died before I could even make this film where I'm at now, and so that was really cool, something to have, you know. So
Absolutely, those memories are precious and priceless. It's like, man, to spend time with your grandma and be at a premiere is pretty rad.
yeah, everybody gets all dressed up. We act, and it's just student films, but we treat it like it's the Academy Awards or something else, you know. You have to, you know.
Absolutely, indeed. And you also co-directed a documentary short called Lost Angels with Lu Chang from it was for the Beijing, China, like USC foreign exchange student program. Like, what was it
Yeah.
like with the language barrier and all that stuff? Like, break it down for me.
Um, there was a little bit of a language barrier, but not much. I think maybe like the slang, learn like the slang words were coming across. But as far as we really clicked. Um, they all them students from Beijing, they came in speaking English. You know, they were really up to speed coming in. You know, we were like the ones where we weren't speaking any bit of Chinese, and then I was like, I could kick myself for not learning any of that. Like, because they're like, well, we're gonna let you slide on this since we're in Los Angeles, but if you guys come to Beijing, don't expect this. You know, um, but it was really cool. Like again, that was one of those things where it was like we had an idea. We were gonna originally shoot on graffiti in Los Angeles, just Los Angeles graffiti artists. When I reached out to this graffiti artist, he was actually he's from Arizona, but his name's Almac. I mean, real famous graffiti artist, but he has a lot of pieces in LA. So yeah, I'm in Arizona now, but you know, if I was in LA, and he goes, I'll put you in touch with some people. And then we were going to go down that route, and then one of my homies, my friend Art, he's like, hey, come over here to East LA. The homies are out here, they're drinking, they're smoking weed, they're ready to talk. Put the camera on them right now. So we did. We went over there. Me and Peggy went over there one afternoon, and the two guys that are in our film, they became like the subject of our movie. We just were like that one afternoon, like carried us through our whole film. We got enough that one afternoon to like, and then we just had to go pick up B-roll, a lot of different shots here and there. But their interview that one afternoon really carried us, and it was just a happy blessing in disguise like that too. You know.
Absolutely. And so, since you graduated from USC, you moved back home, and now you're writing a lot now. And
Yeah.
what are you currently working on?
Well, I've been writing. I had a couple features when I was at USC too. That's before I graduated. I graduated with the script, with the screenplay. I have this film on the Espinoza brothers here that I like to shoot. It's a western, but it's really ambitious for a first feature film. About a year and a half ago, I had this original idea, and it was in a short format. I was actually going to shoot it as my USC thesis film, as a short film, and something was like, you know what, I really need to devote some time to this. I really need to put care into this and just tear it up. And you know, so I did. I start about a year and a half ago. I started rewriting it, and then I it's a feature now. It's just so I've been workshopping it around a couple places. I sent it just to friends, you know, just to my close circle, pretty much. I got some good feedback from the Colorado Film Commission on it already. And I sent it to Sundance once. I got rejected once, not this last year, but the year before. Actually at the end of the last year, because I sent it to the Native Lab, the Native American Film Lab, and then this last year I submitted it again in May. I sent it back to Sundance for I sent it for just their development program. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just send it for feature film. I think it deserves that, and they really right now, you know, they're reaching out. They're talking about, you know, trying to embrace Latino filmmakers, not just Native American filmmakers. I'm like, all right, let's see it, you know, because I got that perfect film, you know, especially from Pueblo, you know. Everybody was like, why are you going back to Pueblo? You need to stay in LA, you know. But I was like, this story is here, you know, the Neon Alley is where I want to shoot it. It's gonna save us so much money. It's already lit up and it's perfectly lit. You know what I mean? You know, all the like our Aztec dance group is here. The lowrider community is here. So all those things are like those. I've been connected to them for years, and right now I feel like that's really my strength base for this film. Because I've been talking to all these guys about it. A lot of the lowrider community are like, yeah, just let us know when, just let us know when. So it's just one of those things about being able to put the funding together to be able to pay these guys right. I also have a friend in LA. I reached out to her about shooting it, and also a young lady out in Los Angeles. But again, I can't bring anybody out without being able to pay them properly. And right now, a couple months ago, I had a webisode through, I've been part of this Sundance collab community, just kind of doing anything I can, writing, workshopping, sending scripts out here and there. So I had sat down with the webisode with Ava DuVernay a couple months ago, and Ava was like, you know what? If you own that project and if you say you own it, well, then you need to do something for it every single day. Do something towards it, whether it's writing an email, whether it's working on your shot or your storyboard, anything, just do something for it. So that's kind of the mode I've been in, just trying to do something for it every day. Pueblo's hard, just this, we have no industry here. There's nothing here other than the stories here. But it's just finding the to do something for it. And our community is so impoverished as it is, going to people for money, and that sort of thing. I want to be able to have all my ducks in a row before I do. So that's where we're kind of at.
Indeed, and you mentioned that you were shooting short projects too, and you also go from like Colorado to Standing Rock. Like, what draws you from like Colorado to Standing Rock and stuff, and filming the shorts?
No, I mean that's just the movement in general. I was a child of the movement of the Chicano movement. So even before that, before USC, that was always going to be where the camera was going to be pointed. Whether it's the Columbus Day protest here in Pueblo, or whether it's we're going to Denver, I was always taking a camera with me. So that's kind of where that statement comes. A couple years ago, we were camped out in the Cannonball River in Standing Rock. I wasn't there a lot. My homies were there a lot longer than me, but I'd go back and forth, and I was just pointing my camera at stuff, trying to document the situation. I didn't document as much as I could have or I should have, but just being there, just pointing my camera. I'm actually one of the things too. When at USC, I really was grounded. I went both ways in screenwriting and production, but I also spent some years working on documentary and developing documentary project, and so I really have a passion for documentary filmmaking too, not just feature narrative and that, but documentary, filmmaking as well. So there's this project that I've really been liking, trying to get up on its feet. I don't want to talk about it a lot too much, but about the 73 Wounded Knee experience and the Chicanos' involvement in Wounded Knee. And a lot of these guys are passing. The story is going. So I've been shooting a little bit towards that and some towards that, but not as much as still as I wish I can right now. I've just really been writing lately. I'm just dealing with this stupid pandemic, and dealing with this guy over here, my dog,
Yep.
and just other than that, just trying to stay focused.
Indeed, and it's great that you're doing documentaries, film work, and I'd love to see Standing Rock and all that stuff, and give
Yeah, I
folks
have a
a
couple of
voice.
short projects I could send you the links for.
Oh, that'd be fantastic. I'm interested
Yeah,
in watching documentaries. I love documentary work too, and so
yeah,
currently, like you're it says that you're currently working on a documentary, so that's for that, and you're publishing for us Chicano kids the zine. Like, what made you work
yeah.
into the magazine there?
Again, man, it's just the Chicano movement in me. You know what I mean? I have a couple of them right here. I'll show you on my magazine rack. Um, there's a one issue. Just kind of. I was always influenced by this guy Teen Angel. I don't know if you ever heard of Teen Angel. He's this old artist from LA, and just one of my homies, Cisco Gallardo. We used to publish these magazines for our group called Barrio Warriors. It was just kind of a way to kind of keep publish kids art and their poetry and stuff from the barrio, stories from the barrio, to give them strength too. Like a kid that's in prison, that you when you publish their art or when you publish their writing, I know a lot of people are like, wow, we're fantasizing that prison writing, that prisons, but no, sometimes we're just giving them voice where nobody else would. Nobody cares about that. Nobody gives any value to our people when they're locked up. But I'm like, we're still humans. We're still alive. Or and me being like the travieso that I was, the little bad kid growing up in Pueblo that I was, making the mistakes in the streets that I was. It's kind of a way just to kind of give back, just to kind of keep. There's a way to write too, like to. Sometimes it's just a way to bitch and gripe and moan and like, hey, I had this story. I want to talk about our police brutality. Just put it in there. I only published 4 issues of that. But I have another one laid out, and I'm hoping to publish that one soon. I also published. I wrote about it in my screenplay, so like that way it could kick me in the ass to write another one too, publish another one. That's just all self-published too. I don't have no funding for that. Just my own family and friends, and just pitch in, and we just kind of we don't even ask nothing back for them, just kind of hand them out sometimes. Chris at the skate shop down here in Pueblo, sometimes I leave a stack down there when I have a fresh publication. So
Indeed, and it's great to
yeah,
give everyone a voice because, man, like, you don't want the streets to be silent. You gotta shine the light on them and let them tell them your stories because everyone has a
yeah,
story to tell. And if like with documentary work, like I would love to hear more about like your surroundings and how you grew up in Dogpatch and bring the East Side documentary back to life and just learn about everyone. Like, because like the east side of Pueblo gets a lot of shade, but there's so much beauty in it. Like there's a skate park
yeah,
there, there's an East High School there, there's Risley back in the day, and just like how everyone grew up. It's like and it's like it's beautiful. You just gotta take a look at all the artwork that's on the walls and everything.
yeah. I'm gonna have to let you read my screenplay. You'll get that feel of Pueblo because it's written with all that in. What you just talked about, I threw all that in, sprinkled it all throughout. And that's why I say like Pueblo, they're like I was always taught they're like even in the most destructive way you can make or the most destructive place you can still make it look beautiful. Like I'm really inspired by a lot of filmmakers that use like their gritty surroundings as a beautiful backdrop. As a place to shine for your stories to shine, your characters. Sometimes you want your characters to come from there too. They need a truth to them, and I think Pueblo has a truth that we haven't seen before, and there's so much negativity here. There's so much destruction here. There's so much like, I know a lot, half my people, my friends or family now out there drinking and don't want to do anything other than little things like that every other weekend. And that's all right too. But sometimes we just have to stop and say, let's give back or let's try to do something here. And I get that. I get in those moods too, where it's like, this is a funky place. There's no way to make it here. There's no way that this is going to happen. But, you just got to look at what we have and use that, to get you through. Like Robert Rodriguez says, use what you got to make it shine.
Absolutely. And Pueblo reminds me of like Daytona Beach, where I perform stand up all the time. And it's like everyone always
Yeah.
like craps on it, but like if you get to know the comics that live in Daytona Beach and the comedy scene there, it's like a tight knit family. But we still welcome
Yeah.
others that are cool, like from like Jacksonville and Orlando to like party with us because there's no other place in Florida like just the Tiernanog Irish pub that you can do like stand up in, which is like a really cool place to do stand up in. It's like a dive bar.
Right.
It's perfect. It has like all stickered and it's a huge mess inside, but sometimes people think it's a mess inside because it's a dive bar. But man, but the
Yeah.
people that it brings people together is just amazing. But you're
That's
also
how C
oh,
that's how CBGB's was, right?
absolutely. It's not what's on the outside; it's what's on the inside.
Right.
Yep. And so you're part of the Native American Church, and there's also stuff on here that I don't want to mispronounce, so you go for it. So, what got you involved with the Native American Church?
Well, it's my uncles and my brothers. Teocalli, Tepeyolotlan. We have a Native American church charter chapter here. I actually haven't went to Native American church ceremonies for a while. I've been over here taking care of this guy, my dog. Just kind of focused on him, my rescued child here. So I haven't really been able to leave out of town. But yeah, those that was really helpful to me even when I was growing up, when I was going to undergrad, and when I was over there in LA, that was one of the things that I was missing about over here. I was like, I miss my uncles, I miss them, I miss my bros, I miss singing, so those are, that's why I kind of wanted to come back home, because I know that's there in LA. I know they have Native American church charters over there. I know there's people that they do Swiss and Aztec dance and all those things that we do here too. I just didn't know who they were. I didn't know who those people were. I didn't have those connections. I was just in the west side of LA, just going to film school all the time, and a lot of times just trying to stay out of trouble over there too. So that's when I was like, I'm gonna go back home. I'm gonna just write at home, and I'm gonna just go back and hook back up with my community. Now we have also a dance group here, Grupo Sochi, and my uncles, they have a dance group in Denver, a group called Grupo Tlaloc, and so we dance here. I take care of a drum here for our dance group, and we dance for all kinds of things, funerals sometimes protests, sometimes community events, so all different types of things. And my story, like, it's rooted in that too. My character is an Aztec dancer. I was like, yeah, it has to be, they have to be who that's who we are, that's who I am. So I was like, put it in there, put it in, let tell that story. We don't want to see, we've seen too many of those other stories, let's see this story. So that's kind of where that's the story I want to tell. Yeah.
Absolutely. And how did you come up with the name of your company?
I'm sorry.
Oh, how did you come up with the name of your company?
I'm sorry. What was that?
Oh, how did you name your? How did you come up with the name of your company?
Oh, that's what I mean. Siawi Picture Company. It's kind of like a play off of the Mutual Picture Company. Back when I was thinking of it, like I'm a big film nerd, so I was always watching movies. Even like back in the '80s, always me and my mom and dad would always take me to like the video store, and so I was always watching not just the movie, but like the packaging of the movie, like the credits that came up, like the film logo that came up before the movie. I was really paying attention to that. Even when I was a kid, I was like, so I remember the Mutual Film Company thing back then, kind of. And when I was back, they came back before, like I was going to USC. I was like, I don't have no company, I don't have no funny, I don't have no member, I don't have no people that work under me, but it's like it's kind of a way to say that this is bigger than me. I don't want to call it like Lucasfilm or Robinson Film, or this is like for my people, Tiawi, for the that's what that word is, an Aztec word, and it kind of means it comes from an old story, an Aztec story. When they talk the Aztec, when they talk about they migrated from the southwest down to Mexico, they talk about times became hard and people didn't make it and the old ones died and they wanted to give up. And every time they wanted to give up, a hummingbird would come into their ear and whisper, Tiawi, Mexica Tiawi, Tiawi. Tiawi means go forward, keep moving, keep your head up, keep moving forward. So that's why I was like, Yowie, that's what it is. That's for my people, to keep our head up, to stay, to keep moving. And it's like the moving image, it's moving forward. So like, that's where I feel like we are as Chicano people. I really look up to the Chicano filmmakers that came before me, like Luis Valdez, Moctezuma Esparza, even Robert Rodriguez to an extent. But like Silvia Morales, those type of Chicano filmmakers, and I feel like I'm in that line right now, to say something with my film, with my Chicano film, my Chicano voice, so that's all those things that guided me from when I was a kid, when I was a troublemaker, when I was, a little hard ass in Pueblo, whatever it was. I'm gonna bring all of that with me, and I'm not gonna be ashamed of any of it. I'm gonna be proud of all of it. You know what I mean? So that's kind of where Tiawi is about.
Absolutely. And I was checking out some of your videos. Like, what was that like being on the Mexican and the Homeboys, like on the set of that?
Oh yeah, I am. The little short one that I think is like two couple minute thing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that was actually we shot that in the west side of LA. And if you look on the crew over there, my friend Ryan Coogler, he's actually pulling boom for me right now. Well, Ryan Coogler went on to direct Fruitvale Station, Creed, and Black Panther. You know,
Wow.
so that was my homie, and I was really proud of him. I was like, yeah, that's my homie. We used to make movies together, you know. So I'm really kind of proud of that little piece because like that reminds me of back when we were in film school. You know, so all my crew that were on that, all everybody that came to kind of help me out on that are like all that were just that one time we were just lowly film students, you know. So I look back at those days, you know, when we were just film students running and gunning. Nobody knew who anybody was going to be. We were just making movies, you know. And so that's kind of what that's actually not a film. It's more like a directing assignment. It's more I shot that for director Jeremy Kagan's class to kind of learn the directing, you know, just to direct actors, you know, with the camera, where to put the camera, how to tell a story with the camera, you know. And my cinematographer really saved me that day because I was really looking at also our cinematographer. Let's just shoot it like this and it will work. So I was like, all right, let's just shoot it like that. So yeah,
And
that's it. I like that little experience. So
indeed, and you also did the you did a Pueblo, Colorado throwback called "Cruising with Playtime's Over." Like it was like 4 minutes and 42 seconds long. What was that like?
uh that's just staying busy, man, with the camera. You know, I came back to Pueblo. I'm like, I'm gonna just shoot these things. You know, and just we're Fiesta Day. We're going to Fiesta. Well, let's just don't go to Fiesta Day. Let's take a camera with us to Fiesta Day. We're gonna cruise a lowrider for Fiesta Day anyway. So why don't we put a camera in there? And why don't we make something out? So Manuel Perez and his family, they were the ones. They have a car club here. Playtime's Over. I'm really thankful for them. They're like, yeah, come on, let's go for a cruise. So I was like, they like gave me pretty much all access that day. They're like, yeah, come get in the car with us. You know, we'll talk about the ride. We'll talk about our engine. You know, and that's how Pueblo is. You know, we're just looking to shine. You know, sometimes you know, and we need somebody just to help. You know, tell that real positive story, but with the realness. You know, and with respect. You know, treat it with real respect and you know, and we have the community here to shine, you know.
Absolutely. And you also did something called Color Red. It's about the two desperate time two brothers and what they do to what it takes for them to survive. Like what's the backstory on that one?
Well, that's the film. That's actually the film idea. That again. That hasn't even been made. That's a film. That's the film I was telling you about, the Western on the Espinoza brothers. You
Uh,
know, when we talk about Colorado, Colorado is, you know, if we talk, that's what it means. Color red. Colorado means the color red. And I was really getting into this idea of like I was going to school with Bruce Block at the time, so I was thinking color theory. I was writing in color, you know, at the time. I had that story for this the Espinoza brothers that I want to tell, but going into that, I was really thinking visually. I'm like, wow, what if it was like this and what? So if you read the script, it's all kind of in there. And it's just to kind of show like again, originally where Colorado started, you know, was from Mexico. You know, it was from the Mexicano people. You know, like and it has a Spanish name for a reason. You know, we call it Colorado for a reason. You know, the mountains because of the red earth in the mountains there. That's why they used to call it that. But my thing about it was like the story behind it is like, what about the bloodshed of the people that helped shape this state? And so that's where the Espinoza, that's what the Espinoza story is rooted in. It's kind of rooted in the San Luis Valley. I'd like to shoot it in the San Luis Valley. I went down there and scouted in the San Luis Valley a couple of years ago, and man, the locations down there are really amazing. That to shoot down there, but again, you have to take a crew. You're shooting in the mountains. There's a lot of logistic things that come in into play. Plus, it's a period piece. You know, it goes back to 1863. So even that is just adding so much thing. It's just really ambitious for a first feature film. So that's why I'm really focusing on this other film that I like to shoot here. Instead, and then see if it can lead me to that one. I don't want to sell the script yet because I would really like to shoot that film still too.
Indeed, and you're also a photographer, and I'm checking out all the photos on your website. And What got you into photography?
Yeah, I was just, like I said, I was when high school. I had a camera. I was always shooting stuff. I was always but at USC we always had to shoot stuff too. It wasn't just with video or film. You sometimes you have to just get a film camera and shoot one still, and look at that one still and what's wrong with that one still, and cinematographers, they do that. They build off of like not just photos but paintings sometimes, you take influence from a lot of different places, but um one of the things that I was shooting in high school, and then I hadn't shot for a while, but until I was back at USC, and then I started picking up a camera again, and then I was when I came back home, I kind of came back home with the camera, so I was just like, all right, we're going to a ceremony. Hey, let me take a picture of you. Or, hey, we're going to this car show. No, let me take a picture of you. So that's where that kind of came about. Or, hey, we're going to Cinco de Mayo. Let me take a picture. So I always was like just snapping photos of events and stuff. I wish I was shooting a lot more, but my computer doesn't have the power to. I can't handle the video right now, so I'm just handling stills and stuff.
Indeed, definitely we'll try to get you an upgrade and all that good stuff. So, but
Right.
indeed, let's see here. But yeah, it's going back and just thinking about all the good times, and Pueblo does call you back, and it's called me back, and we can definitely do like a positive change back home, and I'm looking forward to doing that with you, shining the light on our hometown because man, it's amazing. Like we get a lot of grief for Pueblo, but Pueblo is like one of the coolest cities in Colorado.
Yeah, I mean it is a cool little place. I mean you don't even know, but like people like the mafia ties that we have here that we always talk about, and like when the five families, and if you look at the old commission trials of the mafia back in the '60s, there was a map that they used to have, and it had Denver, it had LA, they had Jersey, and then it had Pueblo was on that map. So I was like, why is Pueblo on that map? I know with the mafia's tied in there, but I also think that we're centrally located. We're a poppin' place. You know what I mean? We're New Mexico's just right down there. The other parts of the state are right there, but we're just perfect right where we sit. We're not Denver. We're not Springs. And it's hard here sometimes. There's no doubt about it. It is really hard, especially filmmaking is really hard here. But they're doing a lot more here right now too, especially at the Water Tower Place. The film commission, they're getting here in Pueblo now. Also, a film commission a chapter here in Pueblo, so that's kind of cool. I'm excited about that. To see that, and like my professor, I always hear that. I always hear my professors talking in my head. I always hear them, even back to like elementary school. I hear my teachers talking in my head, but my USC professors, they would always tell me, New York is played out. We've seen it. LA is played out. We've seen it. And I don't know how many movies, this story, that story, romantic comedy, whatever it is. He's like, we haven't seen your little town. You may think it's some little place that doesn't have nothing to offer, but we haven't seen it. The world hasn't seen it. The world's seen all these other places, but the world hasn't seen your place. So I always kind of remember that being here in Pueblo. I was like, yeah, it's perfect, just to tell that story.
Absolutely, I'll definitely have to get in touch with everyone to help build the film scene with my journalism and all that stuff, like we're
Right.
doing now. Because and Pueblo is amazing with the music, the comedy, and the film. Now it's so artistic there,
Well,
and
it's cool that you always give back to when you come back to. You always hold these little festivals, and man, it's cool. You're like you don't understand how far that goes. That goes a long way. Because nobody wants, like I said, there's a lot of people doing stuff here, but we always don't see it. So it's really good when we see you shine like that. It's cool.
thank you, man. It means a lot. It's like I love putting on the scene. Like concert journalism was where I was like started in CSU Pueblo, and to
Yeah.
bring that back home and shining the light on like original music and comedy is like it's fantastic.
I
I mean,
remember that Epicenter concert we went to, man. You were big on like just getting the right shirts, and like I was like, you're really gonna buy like five concert shirts? I was like, man, you were living the concert experience. I was like, hell yeah, man, this is cool. Man.
yeah, man,
It's
there was
really
like
cool.
Kiss was there and Eminem and like it was just the
Yeah, right.
craziest thing ever. and
I
like the
think that was like
fire
the
was
first
so
time we kicked it. The first time we met. I was like, "You're gonna take me to a concert? You don't even know me?" I was like, "Nah, we're from Pueblo. Come with me." I was like, "All right, I'm going. I'm down." I was like, "That was a really cool time." I have pictures of that too on my. That comes up on my Facebook memories every now and then. I think I took a picture with like some of the Budweiser ladies or something. Somebody that was there that was at the concert that day, and that comes up on my memories every once in a while. But yeah, I remember Kiss was there, Eminem. It was a really cool concert. Yeah,
yeah, pretty
had
wild
fun that day.
time indeed. And we just had mutual friends, and we just connected somehow. I don't know how,
Yeah,
like either MySpace or Facebook or whatever. But I'm like, I just miss someone from home, like someone from Pueblo.
yeah.
It's like,
I think it was my cousin. My cousin Felicia's like, "Hey, you need to reach out to Sred. He's out there in LA." So like, I'm gonna reach out. So tell him I'm gonna be out there too. Let's hook up. We're from both from Pueblo, so yeah. And
absolutely.
when you're from Pueblo too, it's like there's like a special kind of weirdness or something. So
Yep,
you
like
look for those other ones, right?
those bonds never break, and it's cool. Like Felicia, I believe, was in like my very first short film called The
But
Narcoleptics, and
oh yeah,
so it's on YouTube now, and like that's like our very first 24-hour film festival, and like
I'm gonna have to check that out.
we didn't know what we were doing, and so we had like we did it in 12 hours. We spent like $25 on it, like 15 went to gas, like $10 went to energy drinks, and another five went to we spent it on alcohol for the scene or something like that. But like we just didn't know what we were doing. We bought like fireworks. We found it in our house, one of them, and we just like lit it up for like the scene. And it's just so
Uh,
we just like broke into like the Parkview Church and filmed a scene there. And like we didn't know
even
how. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say even in that little bit of money you spend, there's like a valuable lesson in all of that, though, right?
Indeed, man. We didn't have any like wires to connect to the or didn't have any editing software, so we just we would have those HDV tapes. So we just started going back, rewinding, and recording over stuff we didn't need, and
Oh wow.
we didn't have
Oh,
any
because
wires.
you're just making the movie in the camera then.
Yeah, and we didn't know what we were up to, and we went to CSU to see if we can like connect the camera to the computer, but like the doors were locked, and we just couldn't edit it. So we just like edited it on the spot on the camcorder, and so like when the audience saw it, when we saw it, and so it's like we didn't know what to expect, and so we ended up winning an award for it. So it was like the closest thing to share the award with everyone. I was like part of the film.
Uh,
So it's a really
I'm gonna have to go back and check it out.
I recommend it, man. It was like good times. It was like 2008. It was like 12 years ago, and I was
I,
like,
ha- I have the 40-hour film festival. The movie we made somewhere. I'll have to send it to you so you can check it out.
oh
It's
man,
really rudimentary, so you check it out.
absolutely. Send me the link. I would definitely love to see it. But do you have any last shout outs you'd like to give to the folks out there in like internet land and all that stuff?
Nah, man. I just hope everybody's staying safe. With this pandemic. Hopefully, this blows over soon. Hold your head up. Times can be hard. I just really want to thank you. For reaching out to me again. Keeping that friendship tight like that. And do you have anything you want to say, Jig? Nah, he don't have nothing to say. We're just yeah. I'm just writing. I'm fingers crossed. I'm just gonna continue working and trying to develop the script and trying to put together the scenes for it. If anybody likes to check out my work, they can check out my website, ciapicturescompany.com. CIAHYPICTURE company.com. On my Instagram, Rob, keep me updated with everything. Yeah, thank you, Fred. I really appreciate you talking stuff with you. Sorry about the technical difficulties, to be honest.
Hey, I was gonna tell you the audio was cutting out, so I didn't want to interrupt you. But yeah, like as Junior said, like all his website information is on the bottom there, and definitely go to his website and subscribe to his channel and support him and follow him on Instagram. He'll follow us back and all that good stuff. So uh, get up for Junior, and thank you so much for reconnecting. It means a lot, and thank you for taking me on your journey on your film career. That's awesome, and can't wait to move back home and see what we can do for the film career, community in Pueblo, and see what we can do and shine the light on everyone from our family and friends, because like the world needs to hear about us and see us. Awesome. Thank you for being a part of it. I'll definitely see you next time, and when I get back to Pueblo, and for next week, my pal Luke McMurdy is going to be my next guest on Saturday Night Cenobites. And as a friendly reminder, please go and check out the Sunray Cinema and the Corazon Cinema and Cafe in St. Augustine. Buy movies off their website. Support them during the pandemic, and we'll definitely see you all soon. And see you next week. Thank you so much, Junior. And I'm Strathnae. This is a story. Uh, Saturday Night Cenobites, and we'll see you next week. Awesome. Take care.